All right, so welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today I'm here in front of this 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLB 250 4Matic. Now, what is a Mercedes-Benz GLB? It's one of several now sport utilities or crossovers, however you want to call it. So let's think about it. So the smallest one is a GLA, then the GLB. Then they also have a GLC, GLE, GLS, and the G-Wagon. So total of 6 different Mercedes-Benz SUVs. Interesting. Why make one more? This is brand new. They never had this before. They had the GLA and then straight with the GLC. Is there room in the marketplace for this one? We'll take a look at it. But what I want to point out that this is one of the vehicles of Mercedes-Benz that you can get under $40,000. So the base MSRP of the 4Matic version is $38,600. Now, of course, like anything Mercedes, you can customize it to your liking and add several features to it, and that can put you over 40, sometimes maybe even 50 if you go crazy with it. Now, this particular one's got a few extra options, and I'm gonna read out a few of them. It's got the panoramic sunroof, which is a nice touch. It's $1,500. It's got the third row seat, $850. We're going to try to get in there and see if it's got enough room for an adult. It has a heated front seats. It does have the all-season floor mats. It does have a premium package 1. That's the 10.25 displays on the MBUX. By the way, it looks great. If I recommend it, definitely get the package 1. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the exterior design, interior design. We're going to take it for a spin, and then you can decide whether it's something that you like or not. By the way, thank you again to Mercedes-Benz of Hoffman Estates. I'm going to post a link at the bottom of this video. These guys are great, letting me review several of their vehicles. They have great inventory, great staff, and they're ready to help you out with any of your automotive needs. So let's go and take a look at this. All right, so let's take a look at this outside. First of all, I gotta tell you, I love this color, the Galaxy Blue Metallic. It's absolutely gorgeous, and especially on this car, it pops. I'm tired of the gray, white, and black cars that you can see on the road. I love a little pop of color, as you can probably notice in some of my videos. But anyways, so color is one thing. What else is here? LED lights, nice front grille, huge Mercedes star emblem right here on it. There's another Mercedes emblem at the bottom. Fog lights, chrome piece at the front, lip spoiler right here. By the way, these are standard rims. There's no charge for getting those 5-spoke 18-inch wheels. There's about 6 other ones that you can choose from should you not like the standard ones on it. Let's take a quick look around this car. As I mentioned, LED front lights, nice front grille. This one is not the fancy one, but it does have the option of that diamond grille if you'd prefer that. Okay, looking at the side profile of this car, it looks like a mini GLS. It's a little bit more boxy than, let's say, the GLA or the GLC. And I can definitely see why a lot of people think that it was made to appeal to previous GLK buyers, which was a lot bulkier vehicle than the current one. All right, so let's take a look at the side of this car. Looks like big windows, pretty good visibility inside of the vehicle. Color coordinated mirrors with integrated LED turn signals. Nice chrome accent at the bottom. Trim right here. Now we'll move to the back. LED lights. If this lights are very similar from different trim, different models of Mercedes, but this looks a little bit beefier, if I can use that word, than the other small SUVs. Nice chrome accent right there at the bottom. Chrome trim around the exhaust complements the look of this. It's got some lights in there as well. These are just the reflectors. It looks awesome. It does have this huge roof rack on top. You can carry additional luggage, as there's not much room when the third row seat is up. All right, so let's talk about the interior of this 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLB. Now, as part of Premium 1 package or P1 package, you have the bigger screens that this vehicle has, 10.25-inch screens for Mercedes-Benz user experience. Now, this one has the regular steering wheel, but it does have the multi-function capability. Just like the AMG steering wheel, it's just a different design. The buttons and the touchpads, everything is the same. Big Mercedes star in the middle. And then you have controls for the left screen on your left hand side and for the right screen on your right hand side. And you can customize that display to whichever way you like it. Now, I like this design that shows you the big miles per hour. It shows you the gas consumption of how many gallons you actually used from the start, and you know what's the average miles per gallon on the current trip. This is an standard, I believe, display that shows up in this car, and this is what I was talking about. It does have a pitch and a lean for the vehicle on the left dial. We're standing, I guess, a little bit leaning towards the front and towards the left, so that changes as you drive. What's interesting here is the info screen, and this is where you will get some information as far as the engine, give you the ability to see as far as the performance is how many horsepowers are produced by the engine at any given moment, what's the charge of the battery, how much torque is the engine producing at any given moment, your consumption info, that's fuel consumption of course, and you have your operator's manual if you would like to read up on your car. Seat kinetics, you know, it will give you the ability to turn that on, and this is the system where basically it's going to nudge you a little bit, you know, when you're driving, so you don't fall asleep. And this is an interesting feature that it has. You can turn that on or off for driver and passenger. Oh, I guess this is where you can turn that off if you would like. Yes, I would definitely turn that off, as every time that I would say Mercedes, the system will turn on, and I think it's a little bit too sensitive. These vents, not a big fan of it, but they look decent. You look to the side of it, I actually do like that trim on this particular model. That can be different. Well, you can choose a different design, whether it's wood or glossy black or aluminum, or this particular trim, which I think fits very nicely with the color combination of it. This is a soft touch plastic, which is very nice. And this is plastic, but it has that brushed aluminum look. Glove box, fairly deep with a little shelf on it. And let's move back to the middle console, where you can see the standard Mercedes buttons. This is basically for the climate control. What do we have here? This is the USB-C port. This is your regular charging outlet. What are these? Okay, so this is basically an adjustment for your cup holders. So if you have a cup that's not big enough to fit in this place, this is to actually help you keep it so it doesn't move around, which is actually a pretty smart idea. A little detail, but I think it's very useful. Of course, your pad that controls everything on the infotainment system, so you can do it via steering wheel, via voice, or using this touchpad right here. This is basically kind of like a mouse. When I move this around, you can see that the screen is moving here. Now this is of course a touch screen too, so you can do it with touching the screen. You have a individualized button, so you can basically set it up. This goes basically to your favorites. And then radio media button, telephone, Navi map. Now this one doesn't have Navi or map, and this button doesn't really do anything. Media, this is your volume control as well. You have it in the middle here, and you can turn it off just by simply pressing this button. This is your engine start and stop button, of course. You do have the pedal shifters, not as pronounced as on some of the sporty cars, but again, it's not a sporty car. And on the side here, you have your electronic parking brake and your light controls. And typical to the German vehicles, you have those rear fog lights for the right and the left. And of course, your dimming for your instrument cluster. On the door itself, again, I love that trim on this car. You have the seat controls. This one has heated seats, but it doesn't have ventilated seats, and this is where that button would be for ventilated seats. It has, of course, the lock and unlock, as well as the window controls and the mirror controls in the middle. It does have the map pocket. That is actually a pretty deep one, and it goes all the way back there, so there's plenty of stuff that you can put in. I do like the accents of the brushed aluminum, even though it is not real brushed aluminum, but it looks good. And you do also have a power lift gate control that you can open from the inside of the vehicle. You also have the ability to open it from your key, which is the new style Mercedes key. That's lock, unlock, lift gate, and this is your panic button in here. This particular car has a sunroof, and it's got a pretty large sunroof. This is the panoramic sunroof. I'm going to show it to you in just a minute, but the controls for the sunroof and the lights are basically right here on top. Okay, so let's take a look at your sunroof, because it's rather large, and now I have the cover on it. So when I press this button once, it's gonna open up the cover, the shade, and look how big it is. And it's got two sunroofs. The second one, the back one, is fixed. The front one is the one that opens up. And second time when I push the sunroof button, it's actually gonna automatically open it up, and it doesn't open all the way, but it opens, you know, enough so you have quite a bit of room. Now it's a one-touch close, and this one should have, you know, the ability to stop when it hits my hand, and it did. So reverses to the safe position. So in case, you know, you have kids and they put their hands in here, it will reverse it. What's interesting too, another thing I want to point out, is you do have your SOS button, which right now is standard on a GLB, and that's basically your assistance. You get into trouble, that kind of like a OnStar, and Mercedes will dispatch, or, you know, the operator can dispatch emergency services should you require the emergency assistance. I like the interior of this vehicle. Feels luxurious. Now standard, of course, I mean, it comes equipped with the MB tag, so that's the Mercedes version of their leather-like surface. It does have, you know, the look of the stitched leather, but it's not leather, but it feels good, it looks good. So let's move to the back seat and see, or back seats, and see how much room is there. Okay, so let's take a look at the back seat and see how much room it is. And you know, right away, I've sat in it before, but I can tell you that there's plenty of room. And one reason for it is because those seats, those back seats, they also adjust, so you can actually move them front and back. So I'm going to go ahead and jump inside it. But before I do that, I just want to show you how it looks in the back here. The only thing that I see here is the AC vents. Oh, it does have, this is interesting, it does have the regular charging port right here. This is for your regular plug, 115 volt, and 2 USB-C chargers in the back. So that seems to be the theme. USB-C replaces all the regular USBs for all of the devices. Now this one has a third row seat, but before we get to it, let's just take a look at the second row seat. Okay, so let me get in the back seat and see how much room there's actually is in here. Like I showed you just a second ago, this seat can be moved, slides forward and back. And this is my regular driving position. Again, I'm 6 feet tall. I have plenty of room, probably a lot more than in any other vehicle in this class, between my legs and the front seat right here. So plenty of room in here. This is in the second row seat. Now I'm going to attempt to get in the third row seat. However, it's advised that people my size don't get in the third row seat. And I'll show you why. It's actually quite interesting. So here it is. Before you actually want to get in the third row seat, you want to see, okay, this is a child safety, don't leave it unlocked because the seats can bounce around. And then the second, yeah, if you lock it, that's all good. And the third one, what is it? Okay, so it actually tells you that the height of a person in the third row seat should not exceed 66.5 inches or 169 centimeters. That's very interesting. Okay, so I have the middle seat right here all the way to the front, so I can actually try to slide in and get into this seat right here. And they were not kidding about the height restriction. I mean, I am actually hitting my head in the roof, so that would not be very comfortable for driving. And if I put this back here, let's see if that even's gonna work. I can already see that this is actually not going to work for adults. So if you have kids, third row seat is for you. I mean, if you don't have kids and you don't think you're gonna use a third row seat, I don't think there's a point of having one in such a small SUV. But again, you know, the one time that you're gonna need it, you wish you had it. It is an $850 option to get the third row seat on this vehicle. So it's up to you. You can actually opt out, maybe get another option instead of a third row seat. But it's here if you wanted it to be. Okay, so let's take a look at something really quick here. I'm gonna open up this rear gate. Let's take a look how much room we have with all three seats folded up. So if you have a third row seat, you virtually have no room in the back. And in here, there's just a tiny little storage compartment where it stores your cargo cover. No spare tire car. Disappointing, actually. Okay, so let's see how much room there is actually when we fold the seats down. And it's pretty simple. You just basically push that red strap down and your seats go down like this. So now let's take a look at it. Now there's quite a bit of room in here, and I just noticed something. You know those third row seats, the little third row seats, they actually have their own charging ports on the side. So I mean, if somebody is small enough or brave enough to sit there for an extended period of time, here is where you can charge your devices. So actually an USB-C support on both sides. Now, this car can fold all of the seats flat. So, okay, so now we have tons of room. Now this actually can carry something in case you need to. Of course, there will only be 2 people able to drive it, but you know, the seats fold down quite nice and flat, so even a big box or your trip to Costco can fit in here. Let me show you. So here is how much room you have while all the seats are folded down. Right, guys, so take a look at the engine. I mean, it is basically the same engine as, you know, the CLA. I mean, it's a 2-liter engine, turbocharged engine. That one produces 221 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, it's the same engine that powers up a lot of other Mercedeses. I personally like it. I think it's responsive. I think it's paired up with this 8-speed automatic transmission. It'll get you moving. I mean, obviously for what it is. It's not an AMG or any performance engine, but I think they've done a nice job tuning it to power up this vehicle. Right, let's take this baby for a spin. Do I say spin too much? Let's take it for a ride. Let's see what it can do. Let's see how responsive it is. Let's go. Drive. By the way, I did turn off that Hey Mercedes call. The reason being, every time that I talk about this car and I say the name Mercedes, it would pop the screen and say, hey, how can I help you? So good things that it can be turned off, and you know, right now it doesn't interrupt us in reviewing this car. So, you know, as far as the drive, typical Mercedes, very solid, tight feel. It's got the beautiful display on it. I can't say enough good things about the MBUX. I think it's the best in its class, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking for, you know, a more of a base type car such as this one. This is one of the entry-level Mercedes, as we spoke. You know, it's under $40,000. Well, this particular one's about 46, but it's pretty loaded up. But there's other ones that are starting at 38.6 with the 4Matic and a little bit less without the 4Matic. So if you want the front-wheel drive version, you can opt for that one too. So we're gonna get on the little bit faster road right here, see how it handles as far as, you know, merging. I mean, I'm not expecting this car to be super fast, although it keeps on moving. I got it up to 50 miles per hour already, and you know, of course within speed limit, but it is at 60 miles per hour and we keep on going. So definitely capable, you know, nice, smooth, comfortable seats. I'm gonna get on the expressway really quick and see how that vehicle merges into traffic. We'll basically get on and get off really quickly, conduct a quick test drive on it, and then I'll have to take it back to Mercedes-Benz of Hoffman Estates, where I got it from. Right, I got it in the sports mode just to see if it's got more pickup, and you can see that it's louder. Maybe it's a little bit quicker. Definitely switches gears a lot faster. Get it up to 60 on the ramp going uphill, and no issues in merging with traffic, that's for sure. Now, interesting thing, when you switch it to a sports mode, it says do not use with the top payload. So if you have something on the roof rack, it tells you not to use it. Alright guys, so let's sum it all up. You know, talking about this GLB, overall it's a very nice, very solid product. You know, the only question I have of which segment does it fit in. I mean, is it gonna compete with Mercedes other SUVs? I guess it's not my issue, because the more choices you have, the more choices you have. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. But you know, let's say you like a little bit bulkier vehicle than a GLC, or might not want to spend that $50,000+ on the GLC, then you go with the GLB. GLA just came out, beautiful car. By the way, we're going to review it very soon too. And this one is kind of in between, so there's no space. Let's say you say, hey, this one's too small, this one is too big. Now this one fits right in the middle of it. I like the idea of this having that third row seat, even though it's really not useful by adults. But if you have kids or dogs or animals, you know, they can perfectly fit in there. I mean, that's awesome. As far as performance, I mean, it's good for what it is. I mean, there's really nothing crazy. We're not testing a performance car. Seats are comfortable, drive is nice, it's smooth, it accelerates right. It is a Mercedes-Benz. They didn't skimp out any details as far as, they didn't put cheaper materials in here, well, maybe with the exception of those aluminum looking trims, but they still look pretty good. And you know, it is Mercedes-Benz. It feels like Mercedes-Benz, which is important. I would give it a thumbs up if you're looking for a vehicle. You know, my only complaint would be, hey, well, I put a third row seat if you can't really use it. But you know, again, if you have kids, you can use it. Definitely, you know, check out the options. You can customize it. I'm going to post a link in this video, or I'm going to list up everything that's on this vehicle that wasn't standard, so you can see, and then you can choose what you like. So thank you, Mercedes-Benz of Hoffman Estates, for letting me use another one of your vehicles. If anybody is looking for a Mercedes-Benz product, check out the link below. I'm going to put that in the description of this video, so you can check out their inventory. You can call Peter. I'm going to put his phone number in there as well. He's always helpful and eager to help you guys out. Till my next video, cheers.